A look at the week that was, the issues and people who made headlines, and a few darts and laurels for those who deserve them. Laurel to the Philadelphia Eagles. Something happened this week that has never happened before in the history of Philadelphia sports. The Eagles opened their training camp. Yes, they do that every year. But this is the first time they have done so as the defending Super Bowl champions. Still feels good to say that. Laurel to the $1 million mystery in Aston. Someone bought a winning Mega Millions lottery ticket at the Aston Giant last Saturday. They matched the 5 numbers but not the Mega Ball number. That's still good for a cool $1 million. Now the question is, who is the new millionaire? Unfortunately, the big jackpot is not going to anyone here. There was a single ticket sold for Tuesday's massive $522 million Mega Millions drawing, and it was sold in California. Advertisement. Laurel to the faithful at Our Lady of Angels Regional Catholic School. They packed a special service Tuesday night dedicated to the effort to rebuild the school that was destroyed in a devastating fire. Speaking of that, a GoFundMe account will go a long way toward replenishing the supplies that the teachers and staff lost. The account already has soared to more than $30,000. Laurel to Delaware County Council. This week they finally signed off on something residents have been seeking for more than a year. They'll spend $115,000 on a risk assessment study on the Mariner East and another pipeline project in the county. It took long enough. One citizens group already is doing their own study. Sunoco says the pipeline is 95% complete. At this point it might be too late for any risk assessment to have much of an effect. Laurel to longtime county officer and SID Lieutenant Scott Beerley. He recently hung up his badge after a career that spanned 44 years, starting as a patrolman in Chester. Beerley was instrumental in working with a K-9 officer in probing arson fires. He's left an indelible mark on Delco law enforcement. To Ed Mitchell. The longtime Upland Borough Councilman was convicted in a $133,000 kickback scheme on borough contracts. In a town as small as Upland, that means money coming out of almost every citizen's pocket. To the ongoing opioid epidemic. 2 recent forums, in both Upper Darby and Springfield, were testament to just how deeply this problem has reached into our communities. And the word is even more bleak in nearby Philadelphia, where they recorded an astounding 165 overdoses over the weekend, suspected to be caused by a tainted batch of heroin. Laurel to Michael DeMaio. He appeared at the Upper Darby Forum held by state and community officials and spoke as proof that this is not a one-way street, that recovery and a sober life is a very real thing. Thank you for your resolve, Michael. Laurel to officials in Upper Darby. After 2 recent fatal shootings, they are putting together a group of officials, residents and clergy to come up with solutions to the gun violence that continues to raise its ugly head in the township. They are planning a meeting in September to air all their ideas. Laurel to Boeing. It was a very good week for the Delco icon. They celebrated at the Ridley plant with word of a $4 billion contract to build 58 more tilt-rotor V-22 Ospreys for the military and Japanese government. Not only that, but there also was confirmation of a new $100 million factory to work on the V-22 fleet. Laurel, there is more good biz news in the county as well. Welcome to Longhorn Steakhouse, which has now set up shop at the former Charlie Brown's Fresh Grill on Baltimore Pike. Laurel to a bit of relief being expressed out in Chester County when it was determined that a piece of pipe exposed in a creek was in fact not Mariner East 1. Still unanswered is some of the confusion that surrounded who knew what about this incident. Certainly doesn't sound like the session with a pipeline expert that has been retained by Middletown Township to answer citizens' questions eased anyone's concerns at their session Monday night. Don't look for this to cool the desire of those opposed to this project in pushing for a risk assessment study. To Mother Nature. No, we aren't living in a wet sock. It just feels that way. Not raining right now. Wait 5 minutes. That's what life was like this week, most of which was lived under a flood watch. Floodwaters actually stranded motorists and a restaurant full of patrons out in Chester County. Laurel, to the city of Philadelphia and Jay-Z. They have come to a meeting of the minds of the annual Labor Day Made in America festival. Not only is it not leaving the city, as feared after the city announced it would not be back on the Ben Franklin Parkway after this year. It's not even leaving the parkway. Mayor Jim Kenney and Rock Nation, which represents Jay-Z, made the announcement that the festival was staying on the parkway. But just as Kenney was criticized for blindsiding the rap titan, he's now getting a similar earful from Parkway residents. They have been complaining about problems with the festival and other Parkway events for years. They thought they were finally getting some relief, only to have Kenney pull the rug out from under them. Looks like the mayor has still more ruffled feathers to soothe. Laurel, to Arvin Sakira. The member of Boy Scout Troop 111 in Clifton Heights is working to set up a library in the borough's new administration building. Good idea, Arvin. Laurel, to the Phillies. Who needs Manny Machado? This team continues to win and still sits in first place in the National League East. Gabe Kapler continues to push all the right buttons on a team that does not hit field or run the bases all that well. Amazing. Laurel, to Chase Utley. Yep, he's still the man. It was not an accident that Utley, one of the heroes of the Phil's 2008 World Series team and one of the most revered athletes in Philadelphia history, announced last week that he would be retiring at the end of the season. That allowed Philly fans to have one more glimpse of Utley in uniform when the Dodgers came to town this week, and offered the chance to offer a resounding Philly tribute.